Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in for the study session today. We'll start with the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namne Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yadkrapātamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Pramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyam Ishuram Hari Om Tatsat Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Hare Krishna. So Danut pranams to all the devotees. So let's start with Bhagavad Gita and then we will do nectar of instruction after that. Yeah. So we'll try to do it till 1 o'clock or maybe till 12:45. Depends on how much we're able to cover. And then we will go ahead with our next session of nectar of instruction. All right. So we are on chapter number 2. So quickly, if you have to summarize chapter number 1 basically is... Arjuna is observing the armies, how he is asking Krishna to take the chariot in between both the armies. And in this way, he by seeing his kinsman, his guru, his great grandfather, Bhishma Pitamaha, and all of them, he's saying, I will not fight. And he is giving several reasons. He is giving reasons that, I will incur sinful activity, I will incur sinful reactions. Whom will I enjoy? Whom will I show off my kingdom to? Right, and all of this, and then how the leaders or the leader of the family, the family head would be killed, and in this way there will be Varna Shankara, woman will not be guided, there will be unnecessary mixing between woman and man, and all of this, he gave several reasons, right? We also discussed how these are moral grounds, these are very important moral grounds that we have to follow in our life, but not at the cost of following the instructions of a spiritual master, right? We are not going to give excuses. Now, these moral grounds can never be excuses for not performing our duty. So that's how the first chapter ended. And then we moved on to the second chapter, which is entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. So in this, we just started off with Sanjaya's inquiry, right? Sanjaya, not inquiry, Sanjaya is basically explaining what is happening in the battlefield to our Dhritarashtra, who also has this vision of who also has this vision to see whatever is happening in the battlefield, right? So Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra Maharaj that Arjuna, right? Arjuna is, in fact, this is what even Dhritarashtra wanted, right? Some more the battle will not happen, and by the influence of some or the other, the Pandavas will back out, and then the Duryodhana can continue as the king, and Dhritarashtra can sit on the throne. That was his plan, right? But then now Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra that Arjuna became full of compassion and his mind got depressed, and he's speaking Krishna the following words. So we'll start from verse number 2. Now Sanjay has narrated to Dhritarashtra what has happened in the battlefield, and now let's see what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Right? Let's move forward. Text number 2. Let me share my screen. Devotees who want to read may raise your hands. I hope the screen is visible. Okay, so I see many hands up. Thank you. Yeah, Vrishabhanu Kanya Mataji, go ahead. Text number 2. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text number 2. Yes, Mataji.
Bhagwan Uvacha. कुतस्त्वां कश्मलम् इदं विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्य जुष्टम् अस्वर्गं कीर्तिं करम् अर्जुन.
Translation by Prabhupada.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all benefiting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy."
Purport?
Yes, Mataji. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as as Bhagwan throughout the Gita. Bhagwan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahmana or the Mataji, Brahmana, all the where it is.
Sorry, Brahman or the impersonal all-pervasive spirit.
Bhagavad Gita is the ultimate in the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahmana or the impersonal or impervasive spirit, Paramatma or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and Bhagwan or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, these conceptions of the absolute truth is explained thus.
Vadanti tattvavidas tattvam yajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate.
The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagwan. These three divine aspect can be explained by the examples of the sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun surface is further advanced, and one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, it is universal pervasiveness, satisfied by pervasiveness and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, which is the compared to knowledge of the Paramatma features of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas or transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagwan feature of the absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists. Although all students who are engaged in the study of the absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter, the sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another. And yet the students of the three different phases are not in the same category. The Sanskrit word Bhagwan is explained by
Okay, Mataji, we'll just take a quick pause here.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to tell something here. Okay, so why is Prabhupada talking about the three phases, right? Why? Because Prabhupada wants to establish the fact that because Arjuna is feeling compassion, right? We can have compassion only for people, right? These days, like His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says, we have to love people and use things. But what are we doing now? We are loving things, and to achieve those things, we're using people for it, right? But we are supposed to be compassionate towards people. We are supposed to have this loving reciprocation towards people, right? When Arjuna is having this kind of compassion for the people of the soldiers of the opposite party, Prabhupada is re-emphasizing this fact that understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the highest understanding, right? The first level we all know is Brahman, That means merging into the impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord or the effulgence of the Lord. The second level is Paramatma. That means we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and is situated in my heart as Paramatma. But that is second level realization. Why is it not the ultimate? Because we cannot, there is no Adan Pradhan. There is no loving interaction. There is no loving service. Therefore, there is no bliss. Why? Because we are Jivera Surapaye Krishnere Nityadas. Right? A servant of this material world works for the master because he's getting money. Right? Whereas the such kind of servitude in the spiritual world is because of love and affection for the Lord, not for anything to get in return. Right? That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, what does he pray? Ashlishyava padaratam pinishtumam adarshanan marmahatam karotuva yata tathava vidadatulam pato mat prananatas sa eva napara. Right? Ashlishyava padaratam pinishtuvam. That means even if you are present before me and you are embracing me, darshanan marmahatam karotuva. Darshanan means even if you don't give me a darshan and you act in mysterious ways, marmahatam karotuva. Yata tathava vidadatulam pato mat prananatas sa eva napara. Whatever you may do, you are my unconditional master, eternally life after life. Right? In this material world, if you were working I was working for BNP Paribas, right? So this 1 month salary is not there, then what we will do? We will wait for 2-3 months. If they're not giving a salary, we will quit the job, isn't it? Will anybody have love for the employer? Arey, mushkil mein go, ja raha hai, organization loss mein ja raha hai. How can he pay me salary? Are we considerate? No. Why? Because we work for the salary. We don't have any love and affection for the organization we are working for. That is the perverted nature of this material world, isn't it? I can see Rohini Mataji nicely enjoying the session. Hare Krishna. So what was I saying? If you have any realizations, you can share, Mataji, at the end of the session. Because I saw nice expressions from your side. So what was I saying? Yeah, I mean, this kind of thing, reciprocation will happen only if your devotees switch on the cameras, right? Otherwise, I'm talking only to black screens. Yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah, so whatever is happening in the material world is a perverted reflection of the love and service that happens in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, everybody works for the Lord, even if the Lord is not personally present there, right? Even if the Lord does not give darshan, right? And the same mood was also replicated with the gopis of Vrindavan Dham, isn't it? So in this way, this is the kind of love that we want to develop for the Lord. We don't want to enter into a deal with the Lord. I want this, oh Lord, I'm serving you, give me this, give me this. Right? That is a materialistic attitude. We don't want to be in that materialistic attitude. We want to develop loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for that, what are we supposed to do? At least we should have the knowledge that the highest level of realization is that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. So let's continue reading. Let me share my screen again. Okay. Sindhu Mataji can read now. Yeah. The Sanskrit word Bhagavan from there. Go ahead, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Pranam, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranam, Mataji. The Sanskrit word Bhagavan is explained by the great authority Parashara Muni, the father of Vyasdeva. The Supreme Personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation is called Bhagavan. There are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached, but no one can claim that he possesses all the riches, all strength, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No living entity, including Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Narayana, can possess opulence as fully as Krishna. Therefore, it is concluded in the Brahma Shamhita by Lord Brahma himself that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. He is the primeval Lord or Bhagavan, known as Govinda, and he is the supreme cause of all the causes. Ishwarah Paramakrishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Radir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all the causes. Brahma Shamhita. In the Bhagavatam also, there is a list of many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, But Krishna is described as the original personality of Godhead, from whom many incarnations and personalities of Godhead expand. Ete chamsa kala pumsah Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. All the lists of the incarnations of Godhead submitted herewith are either plenary expansions or parts of the plenary expansions of the Supreme Godhead. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Bhagavatam 1.3.28. Therefore, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, the source of both the Supersoul and the impersonal Brahman. Personal Brahman. In the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsmen is certainly unbecoming, and therefore Krishna expressed his surprise with the words, Kutaha, where from? Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of men known as Aryans. The word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Persons who are led by the material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu, or
Bhagavan.
Bhagavan, and they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. Lord Krishna did not approve of the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsmen.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. So, 2-3 important terminologies that Prabhupada uses here. First and foremost is, one should not have compassion for the wrong things, right? Second thing, even if one has compassion for the right things, one has to have, the appropriate mood or the appropriate knowledge, right? One should not have compassion at the cost of one's sadhana. One should not have compassion at the cost of one's performing of one's Sanatana Dharma or even Swadharma for that matter, right? And we also saw very beautifully the example of Bharat Maharaj, right? So where Bharat Maharaj was compassionate towards the deer, and that impeded in his progress of bhakti, because that was taking away all of his attention and time, and also took a place in his heart, right? Which has to be given only to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this way, misdirected compassion, all of those qualities are very good. Just like a knife in the hand of a surgeon will cure a person from some disease, whereas in the hand of a thief is going to cause trouble. So these qualities are very good: humility, compassion, tolerance, right? But we should not tolerate blasphemy of a devotee. We should not be compassionate towards a person who does not deserve compassion, right? So in this way, Arjuna's exhibition of compassion is actually like that of a non-Aryan. That's what Prabhupada is saying here. What is a non-Aryan? An Aryan means who knows what is the purpose of life, and he works in his life to attain the purpose, right? All of us are attending Bhagavad Gita class, Nectar of Instruction class, Bhagavatam class. Why are we attending? Because we want to understand what will please the Supreme Lord, what will help us attain our goal of Krishna Prem, right? We are concerned about us being souls and not just being physical bodies, which are satisfied just by some material things, which are very temporary. So any deviation from the progress of spiritual life, even if that means exhibiting wonderful qualities, right? Mano rathena sati davato bahihi. It is only at a mental platform. It is going to be exhibiting those qualities in return for some kind of name, fame, glory, in return for some kind of wealth, whatever may be our reasons, right? But we will not get Krishna Prem. So that much is cleared by Prabhupada in this purport. And Kutaha, from where from are these impurities coming upon you? That means, you're very good, you're compassionate, but you're exhibiting your compassion at the wrong time, at the wrong place, and against the wrong people who have committed, who are aggressors, right? In the previous verse, we also saw that one of the six aggressors can be killed. There is no sinful reactions if we kill any one of them, right? One who usurps our land, one who actually poisons another person, or one who usurps another person's wife, etc. The 6 reasons are given, whereby one should not tolerate these nonsensical things. Then secondly, Prabhupada also establishes the supremacy of the Lord, right? Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasha shriyaha jnana vairagyayascheva sannam bhaga itingana. Aishwaryasya samagrasya. Samagrasya means in complete, in full. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Why? Because he possesses all of the 6 opulences. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya. Aishwarya means all the opulences in full. He's completely, he's very, richness personified. Viryasya, he's the most powerful. He's the most strongest, right? Viryasya. Yashasha shreyaha. Yashasha means, yashaha means fame. He's completely famous. Shriya means beauty, right? Jnana means he's got complete knowledge. Jnana vairagya means he's completely renounced, right? He's not very proud. Oh, I am the supreme personality of Godhead. I know everything. Everybody has to follow me. No, Krishna does not even interfere with our free will, right? Krishna says, if you want to engage in my service, okay, you come back to my abode and do service to me. Otherwise, you go to the material world and try to enjoy yourself, right? But this material world is not designed for enjoyment, right? That's another thing. That's a big subject matter in itself, right? Viryasya yashasha shriyaha jnana vairagya yaschaiva sannam bhaga itingana. So knowledge, wealth, strength, beauty, fame, and renunciation, all of these things are completely present only in Krishna. Completely present only in Krishna, right? We also know Krishna has 4 more qualities even higher than Vishnu. Of course, Vishnu is equal to Krishna, except that he does not have these 4 qualities, right? What is that? Venu Madhura, Leela Madhura, the beautiful form, right? Venu Madhura is the flute. Leela Madhura is Leela's. Parivar Madhura. That means the sweetness of interactions with his family, with his devotees. And Rupa Madhura. That Krishna is very sweet. Krishna is very beautiful. Krishna is very handsome. Right? Even the Vishnu avatars, they carry Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. They are quite fierce, right? Because of their holding those weapons. But Krishna is just playing a flute, and Krishna is so beautiful to look at. So these 4 things Krishna has even higher than that of Vishnu, right? And Prabhupada always gives the example of a candle. There is one candle who's Krishna, who lights all the other candles, right? Who are all the Vishnu avatars, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, especially Rama, Balarama, all of them. Also the Leela, some of the Leelas were exhibited by them also, like Lord Ram, like that, right? But this one candle is the supreme most candle. All the other candles are also burning with equal light. But they give equal heat, but yet this one candle, which is the source of the other candles, remains distinct as the source of the other candles. Similarly, all the Vishnu avatars, they are also as powerful as Krishna himself. Yet Krishna is the source of all the other Vishnu avatars, right? That is why Krishna is called Avatari, right? Avatari means the source of all the avatars, right? Ete chamsha kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. In various yugas, Krishna appears in various incarnations to serve various purposes. To protect the pious, to annihilate the miscreants, to establish the principles of religion, to destroy the adharmic principles, and to destroy the adharmic people. Like that, Krishna incarnates according to time, place, and circumstance in different avatars. Yet, Krishna is eternally enjoying in Goloka Vrindavan Dham because he has no duty to perform. He is independent. He is Swarat. He is completely independent. Yet, by his energies, he creates the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. He expands into the Chiradakashaya Vishnu. He expands into the Karanadakashaya Vishnu, who carry forward all the requirements that are there for this material world. Not only they directly do it, they also expand. Right? The Brahma is created. Brahma takes care of the secondary creation. In this way, everything is by the energy of the Lord. Just like the various angas of the body, right? The hand helps to carry the food to the mouth chews the food, the tongue helps to mix it with the saliva, and then the throat helps to swallow the food, and then in this way the food goes to the stomach, then there's various organs inside the body, right? The heart helps to pump the blood and all those things, right? Everything is working for the body to sustain itself. And why the body is sustaining itself? Because of the presence of the soul in the body. Similarly, Everything exists, right? Sutra Ganai Mani Va. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, I am like the thread in which all these pearls are strung. What are these pearls? These pearls are all the universes. And Krishna's energy is the sustaining force behind everything. Although, that is why when we talk about, in later in Bhagavad Gita, we'll talk about the immediate cause, the intermediate cause, and the remote cause, right? The remote cause or the original cause for everything is Krishna. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. Anadir, Krishna has got no source. Adir, he is the source of everything. We know the source of Brahma. Brahma came from the navel of Vishnu. Like that, we cannot have any source for Krishna because Krishna is eternal. Krishna is always existing, right? So, and Sarva Karana Karanam. That means what? He is the cause of all the causes. Yeah. All right. Let's move forward. Text number 3. Who will read? Yeah, Nagaveni Mataji, I hope you're able to unmute yourself. Yes, go ahead. Okay, we'll come back to you. Shobha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Tandat Mataji,
Hare
Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Text 3.
Traibyam masma gama pata naitat pai upapatyate sutram hridaya draupalyam sakvo tishta param tapaha. Translation by Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. O son of Vrita, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weaknesses of heart and a race. O chastiser of the enemy. Should I read the purport, Mataji?
Yes, go ahead.
Arjuna was addressed as a son of Pritha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only. And if the son of Brahmana acts impiously, he is a Brahmana in name only. Such Kshatriya and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of the Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and the Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Krishna did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of this magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives. But Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of the heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or such called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna. Haribol, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah. So again, we discussed this, right? Compassion also, it has to be exercised for a reason, right? One should not be compassionate towards, saving the dress of a human being who's drowning in the water. Rather, we want to pick up the human being from the water, right? So compassion has to be exercised with right knowledge on what we are compassionate of. And see, for example, if a person is asking, generally people are addicted to liquor and all that, right? Sometimes, we see in the rehabilitation centers how they very much desperately want it, right? They ask, they plead, let me have one peg like that, right? But those people are compassionate. That's why they are keeping all these people and they're trying to rehabilitate them. That doesn't mean that they are going to give whatever they are asking for, right? Because even though they are pleading, it looks like they're very cruel. They're not giving. Like even at our own home, we can see sometimes a child is asking for chocolate every day. Or a very nice example, Prabhupada only gives. Prabhupada gives, says, when a small child is taken to a toy shop, the child wants a toy, and then he sits down and he throws a fit, hands and legs. I want this toy, like that. But if it is not good for the child, the parents will not buy it for the child, right? So that relationship is between Arjuna and Krishna. That is why, although Arjuna is giving so many reasons, Krishna is telling Arjuna very clearly, this is not the kind of compassion that you're going to exercise. Why? Because it is like you are saving the dress of the drowning person, right? So this is not the compassion. Get up, Arjuna, and fight. And we should always remember at the back of our mind that Arjuna has surrendered to Krishna. That is only reason Krishna is actually telling him again and again, right? Otherwise, we sometimes get irritated, right? But if you want to do your own thing, why are you coming and asking me all the time? Right? We also tell our children also that. Right? If you want to do that, go ahead and do it. Why are you asking me again and again? But we can see here that Krishna is being an embodiment of patience. Just because Arjuna has surrendered, right? In the second chapter itself, the entire Bhagavad Gita synopsis has been given by Lord Shri Krishna. Yet, from the third chapter, why is Arjuna asking so many questions, repeated questions again and again? It is for dull-headed vasis of Kali Yuga, that sometimes we don't even get the right kind of doubt, right? That is why Arjuna is asking these doubts on our behalf. And again, Krishna, with patience and tolerance, is answering those questions for our benefit. Right? Let's go ahead. Okay, so we'll start with text number 4. Nagavani Mataji, are you able to unmute yourself? Are you there? You can switch on your
Yes,
camera.
Mataji, I am very much
Very good. Yes. Go ahead. Arjuna Vacha. Katam Bhishmam Aham Sanke Dronam Cha Madhusudana Ishubi Pratiyotsyami Pujara Varisudana. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Arjuna said, Hare Krishna, then pranam to all. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counter attack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of any worship. Purport. Respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipable. Even if they attack, they should not be counterbacked. If it is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight, even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior. They should not be harshly treated. Then how is it possible for Arjuna to counterattack them? Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather, Ugrasena, or his teacher, Sandipani Muni? These are some of the argument offered by Arjuna to Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. So finally to hear you today. So, so here again, Arjuna is giving more and more reasons, right? We have our grandfather. Will you fight against your own grandfather, right? Will you fight your teacher? Why are you asking me to fight my grandfather and my teacher? Some of the arguments. Right? Arjuna is continuing with those arguments because we are trying to give an exhaustive. Krishna is helping us that all of the arguments would be defeated by Krishna. And in this way, Arjuna becomes very clear. And then also, Krishna does not tell Arjuna do this. Right? Krishna is telling Arjuna, pick up this thing and fight. But finally, when Krishna knew that Arjuna has actually understood the essence, what does he say? Yata ichchasi tata kuru. Now, Arjuna, you do whatever you like, right? So the spiritual master or Krishna, for that reason, will not force anybody to do anything, right? Once the disciple surrenders, the Guru gives the knowledge. Once the Guru gives the knowledge, the Guru tells the disciple, okay, now you contemplate on it, you introspect, and then you do what you think is good for you, right? In that way, the free will is always there. Yeah, okay. Text number 5. Okay, Sudha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum vaishyamapi haloke hatvartha kamanstu gurun ihaiva bunjiya bhogan rudira pradigdam. Translation and purport by His Divine Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Purport. According to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because of his financial assistance, although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. But Arjuna thinks that nevertheless they remain his superiors, and therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy spoils tainted with blood. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So here we see we should always keep remembering this, that Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, right? We are doing this only because Arjuna is becoming an instrument for us to understand Bhagavad Gita, right? At no point in time should we understand that why is Arjuna continuously asking the same thing again and again? Why is he putting forward the same reasons again and again, right? So he is exhausting everything so that today we don't come up with a new reason to say why we cannot perform our duty. So in that way, all exhaustive reasons are provided by Arjuna here, right? One more very important thing is we also know in the case of Bali Maharaj, right? His own spiritual master Shukracharya actually told when the Lord came as Vamana and asked for 3 steps of land, Bali Maharaj asked Vamanadev why he came as a small dwarf, right? So in this way, he asked Vamanadev, who was dressed as a dwarf, saying that what will you take in 3 steps? Ask for anything. I am the king of all the worlds. Ask me whatever you want. And then what does he say? That time again he gives a very important lesson. He says, I am a Brahmana. I should be satisfied with whatever I get, with 3 steps of land, right? But he is Lord Vishnu himself, right? And then Shukracharya, as soon as he was about to take water and sprinkle, that's how you give this vardhan, right? That I'm giving you this. So when he actually started doing that, Shukracharya, his guru, he stepped from behind and he said, don't give this boon to this dwarf. This is actually Lord Vishnu in disguise. And then what did Bali Maharaj say? If this is the Lord in disguise, then let him take everything, because he is the one who's given me everything. So let me give everything to the Supreme Lord. So in this way, Prabhupada mentions here that if Guru says anything which is going against the Shastras or against the Supreme Personality of Godhead, such Guru also is to be rejected. That is why our ISKCON, right, Srila Prabhupada in his books has given us such a wonderful philosophy that we are not sentimental. Right? Sometimes when we don't have that knowledge, right? Sometimes when some guru, right? For example, there have been so many instances in ISKCON itself. Some of the gurus fell down, right? And what happens to the disciples? Those disciples actually take the shelter of another guru who's continuing, because it is not sentimentalism, right? Otherwise, if you are sentimentally attached to the person, if that person falls, what happens? All of his disciples will also fall down from bhakti. Right? That is why Prabhupada is saying we need to have faith, but we need to have proper understanding of the scriptures. Right? Yat shastra vidamutsrijya vartate kamakartaha nasa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na paramgatim. Right? Krishna himself tells in Bhagavad Gita, if we don't understand the scriptures and don't live our life according to the scriptures, then we will not get happiness in this life. We will not get any perfection that we desire, nor can we go back home, back to Godhead. So that is why we have to be very careful whom we are placing our trust upon, right? So in this case also, we see that Bhishma and Drona, right? Although, they say, namak kaya hai, right? We've eaten in their house, so we have to be grateful to them. Even Karna, for that reason, he also fought with on the side of Duryodhana, because Duryodhana made him the king of Anga. Isn't it? Because he had gone for the Swayamvar of Draupadi. And Draupadi actually told that I will only marry a king. I will not marry a Shudra Putra. Right? Although Karna is the son of Kunti, he is actually a Kshatriya. But then what happens? He was known as the Shudra Putra, right? Because he was raised by a chariot driver, right? So in this way, when Draupadi insulted Karna, that time Duryodhana told him, okay, he is a Kshatriya from today, right? I am giving him this entire kingdom. He became the king of Anga, right? So in this way, Karna actually became obligated to Duryodhana. That's why all of these obligations, this compassion to the deer, all of these are very important lessons. Even Bhishma Pitamaha, fighting on the side of Duryodhana just because, he was eating the food that is given by Dhritarashtra. All these are very wonderful principles. Yes, gratitude, humility, honesty, compassion. Yes. Why are these principles? Why are this thing reiterated? Right? We should not misunderstand that these qualities are wrong. These qualities need not be developed. No, we have to develop these qualities. but everything has its utility value, right? Non-violence has its utility value. It does not mean somebody beats us, we show our other cheek, right? Mahatma Gandhi's principle does not work, right? Non-violence also has its utility value like that. Okay, so that's why here Arjuna, Krishna is telling that, rather Prabhupada is explaining this. Krishna has not even started speaking the Bhagavad Gita, right? Because Arjuna is still giving reasons not to fight. But Prabhupada is giving us, the tidbits of wisdom, right? So here Prabhupada is telling us that even Bhishma Pitamaha and Dronacharya were not right when they fought on Duryodhana's side, simply because on material considerations, right? So one should follow. Nothing is more dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam, right? We perform our dharma, and anything and everything that we perform should take us closer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather than if something takes us away from the Lord, then those things are not really principles of dharma, right? Because dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Whatever the Lord has given, that is only dharma. All right. Sarva Gopeshi Mataji, go ahead. न चैतद्विद्म कतरन्नो गरीयो
न चैतद्विद्मः कतरान्न करियो यत्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेत् जयेयुगो यन्के वहत्वा न जिजीवं सां ते अवस्थितः प्रमुक्ते दाधराष्ट्राः. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. The purpose. Shall I read?
Yes, go
Arjuna,
ahead.
Arjuna did not know whether he should fight and risk unnecessary violence, although fighting is the duty of the Kshatriyas, or whether he should refrain and live by begging. If he did not conquer the enemy, begging would be his only means of subsistence. Nor was there certainty of victory, because either side might emerge victorious, even if victory awaited them and their cause was justified. Still, if the sons of Dhritarashtra died in battle, it would be very difficult to live in their absence. Under the circumstances, that would be another kind of defeat for them. All these considerations by Arjuna definitely proved that not only was he a great devotee of the Lord, but he was also highly enlightened and had complete control over his mind and senses. His desire to live by begging, although he was born in a royal household, is another sign of detachment. He was truly virtuous, as these qualities, combined with his faith in the words of the instruction of Sri Krishna, indicate it is concluded that Arjuna was quite fit for liberation. Unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge. And without the knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. Arjuna was competent in all these attributes, over and above his enormous attributes in his material relationship. Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah. So as a devotee, we do have all of the good qualities, right? At least we try to develop all the good qualities. And yasyasya bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarver gunesatra samasati. So all of these good qualities will automatically come to a devotee, right? One devotee need not try to separately endeavor, but a devotee always ensures and sees to it that his or any of his qualities, right? Even our quality of passion, right? Sometimes we are passionate, we want to achieve results. Then we perform activities for the pleasure of the Lord. We utilize our passion to do work for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that, we have to dovetail our propensities in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, you having even wonderful qualities is simply a waste of time like that. Yeah. Okay. So here, let's stop here. We'll continue with verse number 7. Okay, we will go slowly but steadily. But here, because 2-3 important points are given also here. It also talks about the glory of Arjuna. One is he's completely detached, right? Because he's saying, it's okay for me to live by begging also. I don't want to fight this war where so many people are going to die just because I have to become the king, right? So he's got complete control over his mind and senses. His mind is not reeling in trying to become the controller or becoming the king, right? And secondly, finally, in fact, Krishna was not going to leave him, right? Because he's going to surrender to Krishna. The important verse, which is the next verse, 2.7. This is the turning point of Bhagavad Gita, which is 2.7, right? Wherein Arjuna is going to actually, Sishyasteham Sadhi Mam Tvam Prapannam. I'm going to surrender to you. Let me know what is good for me. So at this point, now Krishna will start speaking. All this time, Krishna has been only hearing. And Prabhupada has been glorifying Arjuna for his transcendental qualities, but at the same time chastising Arjuna, right? Because it's a lesson for us. Arjuna is actually put into illusion by the Lord, right? So at the same time, but sometimes Prabhupada is saying this is not the quality of a Vaishnava. This is because of material attachment of Arjuna. So we should understand that we have to put proper use of various of our qualities so that we employ it in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So we'll start with verse number 7 tomorrow. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. So we were doing NOI verse number 2. Verse number 2 we were talking about Atyahara Prayashascha Prajalpa Niyamagraha Jana Sangascha Lolyamcha Shadbir Bhaktir Vinashyati. So we're talking about 6 things that will kill our Krishna consciousness or will uproot our devotional service. What are those? Atyahara means eating more than necessary or accumulating more than necessary. Prayashascha means over endeavoring for material things. Right? We gave the example of how a person accepted a job which was giving him 5,000 extra salary, but that 5,000 was entirely going to the doctor because he was overworking. He was getting health problems, right? So over endeavoring is not worth it. If you are getting a good pay, but if you are, but we are not saying that you should not go for a higher salary, right? If we have higher salary, we can contribute more towards Krishna consciousness. Right? So the only thing is we need to have a balance between material and spiritual life. We need to be able to do our Brahma Murta chanting. We need to be able to give time to hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, right? With all this in place, if you are getting a better job, of course we should go for it, right? We are not 90-90. Oh, if I get a lot of money, I will not be able to do, right? But if we are very clear that my spiritual practices will not suffer because of an increased, a better job or a better paying job, of course we should go in for it like that. And then what? Prajalpa. Prajalpa means talking unnecessary things. Then, Prajalpa means useless things. Anything other than talking about Krishna is useless. Right? Niyama, Agraha. That means 2 meanings are given here. Niyama. Niyama means rules and regulations. Agraha means one who rejects it. Or Agraha means one who is very attached to the rules, but is not knowing the purpose behind doing those rules. Then Janasanga. Janasanga means associating with material people. Right? We are known by the average of 5 people whom we closely associate with. That's how we also become, right? That's why very important to choose which association we want to take, right? Laulyam means to want greedy for materialistic achievements or greedy for material objects. So all of these 6 things one has to very carefully avoid. And then Prabhupada goes on to describe about who is a Mahatma. A Mahatma is a person who takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or takes shelter of the internal energy of the Lord. Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. Daivim means the transcendental energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. Then what is it? Such Mahatmas are very rare. Bhajanti ananya manaso jnatva bhutadim avyayam. Right? They know me to be inexhaustible and they always engage in my service. Right? And also Sudurlabham, right? They are also such Mahatmas are very, very rare to be found, right? Now there is an explanation of the definition of the word Mahatma, which is described by Prabhupada. So we'll finish in by say 120 or so. We'll try to finish this verse number 2 today. Anyone wants to read? The word Mahatma refers to those who are broad-minded. Okay, Shobha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats Pranamataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats, yes.
Actually, all this is extended. No, the word Mahatma refers to those who are broad-minded, not cripple-minded. Cripple-minded person always engage in satisfying their senses, sometimes expand their activities in order to do good or good for others, through some isms like nationalism, humanitarianism, or altruism. They may reject personal sense gratification for the sense gratification of others, like the members of their family, community, or society, either national or international. Actually, all this is extended sense gratification for personal to communal to social. This may all be very good from the material point of view. But such activities have no spiritual value. The basis of such activity is sense gratification, either personal or extended. Only when a person gratifies the senses for the Supreme Lord can be called a Mahatma or broad minded person. In the above quoted verse from Bhagavad Gita, the word Daivim Prakritam refers to the control of the internal potency or pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This pleasure potency is manifested as Srimati Radharani or her expansion Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. When the individual Jiva souls are under the control of the internal energy, their only engagement is the satisfaction of Krishna or Vishnu. This is the position of the Mahatma. If one is not a Mahatma, he is a Duratma or a cripple-minded person. Such mentality, crippled Duratma, are put under the control of the Lord's external potency, Mahamaya.
Hare
Indeed,
Krishna.
all living.
Mataji.
Haribol, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So Mahatma and Duratma, right? Mahatma means Goswami. Duratma is a Godasa. That's very, very one word of explaining. Mahatma means one who works for the satisfaction of the Lord. And Duratma means is a cripple-minded person. And sense gratification does not necessarily mean me, myself, right? Sense gratification also means my family, my society, my country, right? Prabhupada says all of these various isms, right? Capitalism, communism, socialism, right? Nationalism, my country, right? My country only should win. All of this is attachment at a bodily platform. Because I am born in India, I want India to win in the cricket match, right? Even that is sense gratification, right? As long as we are not working towards the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, following in the instructions of the devotees, we are Duratma. We are cripple-minded because we are not working for a higher purpose, which is satisfaction of the Lord. Only those who work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord are called Mahatma, right? And then Prabhupada goes on to talk about how we have various kleshas in this world, right? Why are all of these troubles there in this material world, right? Krishna is giving us all of these troubles not because he's sadistic, right? Because Krishna wants us to go back home, back to Godhead, where there can be eternal pleasure. But we have chosen to stay here, right? Just like in the jail, right? Sometimes the prime minister visits the jail. Doesn't mean the prime minister also wears that prisoner wala dress and stays there and breaks the stones. No, the prime minister comes to the jail. He meets all the prisoners. He probably gives an encouraging talk, telling them, what are the benefits that are available outside, encouraging those prisoners, right? You serve your term, and sometimes some of the prisoners also get encouraged by such talks, and then what do? They are even they exhibit a good character and they even get released from the prison earlier than their term. Maybe they get 10 years imprisonment, but because of their good behavior, they may even get released from the jail within 5 years, right? So in this way, the Lord also comes, right? Time to time, giving us a glimpse of the spiritual world. This is how it is blissful. Come on, pack up your bags and come back to the spiritual world, right? But we are saying, no, I like here only. Let me eat here. I'm happily enjoying my nice pizzas every day in the morning, right? So that is what is our unfortunate plight. Now let's go on to discuss about the 3 kleshas that are there in this material world. What are those? Nagaveni Mataji, please go unmute.
Yes, Mataji. Indeed, and living entities within this material world or under the control of Mahamaya, whose business is to subject them to the influence of threefold miseries. Adidaivika klesha, suffering caused by the demigods, such as droughts, earthquakes, and storms. Adi Bhautika klesha, suffering caused by other living entities like insects or enemies. And Ananya
Adhyatmika klesha.
Sorry. Adhyatmika klesha, sufferings caused by one's own body and mind, such as mental and physical infirmities. infirmities. Daiva bhutanam, Daiva bhutma,
Daiva bhutatma hetavaha.
Daiva bhutatma kleshavaha, the conditioned soul subjected to these three miseries by the control of the eternal energy suffers various difficulties. The main problem, Mataji, वो cursor है हाँ थोड़ी सी ऊपर करना. Thank you so much. The main problems controlling the conditioned souls is the repetition of birth, old age, disease, and death. In the material world, one has to work for the maintenance of the body and soul. But how can one perform such work in a way that is favorable for the execution of Krishna consciousness? Everyone requires possessions such as food, grains, clothing, money, and other things. Necessary for the maintenance of the body, but one should not collect more than necessary for his actual basic needs. If this natural principles is followed, there will be no difficulty in maintaining the body. According
Hare
to
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. So here, Prabhupada is mentioning about what is favorable for the execution of Krishna consciousness is simple living and high thinking, right? The more we want to accumulate, wealth, whether it is resources, whatever is it, the more we accumulate, the more we get attached to accumulating more and more, right? Because just like when you pour ghee in the fire does not get extinguished, right? It may seem like it is going down, but then it starts raging fire, right? Similarly, when we actually engaging our senses in sense gratification, we can never come out of sense gratification. However, when we विषया निवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रता रसावर्जं रसोप्यस्य param drishtva nivartate. By experiencing a higher taste, we will be able to give up the lower taste, not by continuing to engage in those lower taste activities, right? And then Prabhupada is also talking about the three kleshas, right? Suffering caused by the demigods, like the flood, the earthquake, etc. And then Adi Bhautika klesha caused by other living entities, right? Sometimes our relatives cause either harsh words, they cause difficulty for us, right? And Prabhupada also talks about insects and enemy and these flies and mosquitoes also, right? And then adhyatmika kleshas by our own body and mind, right? Sometimes we contemplate unnecessarily on wrong things. And sometimes we are even, based on our previous karmas, right? Some are born with a, disabled body or some infirmities, etc., right? Which is all caused by these three kleshas. And more importantly, our most important problem is Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Doshanu, Darshanam. Our main four problems are birth, death, disease, and old age. Right? How do we get out of this? By simply maintaining the body and not actually doing things that will aggravate our personal material sense gratification, right? We should not work in such a way that we want more and more, we want to accumulate more and more, and that will increase our material disease. We have to be satisfied with whatever has been given to us. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena taktena bunjita magrada kasya svidanam. Right? We're not looking at the other persons. The neighbor, why is he having a Mercedes Benz car? I am simply having a Wagon-R. Right? All that will be causing anxiety to our mind. That is adhyatmic klesha. Right? You should understand that the Lord has given different people different things according to their past karmas, according to their past desires, according to their past karmic account. So we simply have to accept it and lead our lives in such a way that we land ourselves in a better destination for the future rather than crib and complain about the past. Okay, we'll end with Anjana Mataji. Mataji, please read the last paragraph for the day. According to nature's arrangement, Anjana Mataji, yes, go ahead.
Mataji, Hare Krishna. According to nature's arrangement, living entities lower on the evolutionary scale do not eat or collect more than necessary. Consequently, in the animal kingdom, there is generally no economic problem or scarcity of necessities. If a bag of rice is placed in public place, the birds will come to eat a few grain and go away. A human being, however, will take away the whole bag. He will eat all his stomach can hold, and then try to keep the rest in storage. According to scripture, this collecting of more than necessary atyahara is prohibited. Now the entire world is suffering because of it. Collecting and eating more than necessary also cause prayasa, or for a man to move from one place to another to earn a livelihood. For one can produce food, grain locally, and get milk from cows. That can solve all economic problems. Fortunately, a man has been given higher intelligence for and the cultivation of Krishna consciousness, or the understanding of food. Once Hare Krishna, one's relationship with him, and the ultimate goal of life, a love of God. Unfortunately, so-called civilized man not caring for God realization utilizes his intelligence to get more than necessary and simply eat to satisfy the tongue. By God's arrangement, there is sufficient scope for production of milk and grains for human beings all over the world. But instead of using their higher intelligence to cultivate God consciousness, so-called intelligent men misuse their intelligence to produce many unnecessary and unwanted things. Thus, factories, slaughterhouses, brothels, and liquor shop are opened. If people are advised not to collect too many goods, eat too much, or work unnecessarily to possess artificial amenities, they think they are being advised to return to a primitive way of life. Generally, people do not like to accept plain living and high thinking. That is the unfortunate position. Human
Hare
life
Krishna.
is
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol. So we will end here. So here also Prabhupada is talking about the same thing, right? Prabhupada is repeating the most important things, which is simple living and high thinking, right? Not being over endeavoring for the materialistic things, which is going to entangle us further and further in the material sense gratification, in the material what do you call kleshas, right? The more we endeavor, the more we are not able to attain all that we try to possess, and in that way we are it results in anger, right? Or it results in greed. I want more. I've already got this. Now I want more. So in this way, there is no end to sense gratification, and there is no satisfaction that can be attained by sense gratification, because the mind will always want more, more. Right? The other day I was giving the gulab jamun example, right? Even at that particular point in time, we say, okay, I cannot even have one more gulab jamun. I'm going to vomit. I will never eat gulab jamun. Right? But after 3-4 hours, if somebody were to offer us a gulab jamun, if you like it, of course we will take it, isn't it? So it's temporary. The satisfaction is also temporary, and the desire to accumulate more and more is always persistent in the heart. So how can we cut this cycle of sense gratification? By renouncing ourselves. That's why we observe important days like Ekadashi, the Janmashtami, all of these days, they help us dictate to our senses when you can eat, when you cannot eat. In this way, we bring our mind and senses under our control. In that way, we practice simple living and high thinking, right? And what is our goal? Krishna Prem. We are not practicing simple living and high thinking, so that somebody else, oh, isne Nirjal Vrata kar raha hai. I mean, he's doing Nirjal. Oh, such a great person. We are not doing it for sense gratification. We are not doing it for acquiring name, fame, glory. We are doing it simply because it is an anga of bhakti. That is why we don't fast capriciously. Right? Some people fast on Tuesdays for Durga Puja, iske liye fasting, Wednesday fasting for this devata, Thursday fasting for this devata, because they want something from one devata, another thing from another devata. All of that is sense gratification. It's going to keep us bound. But we follow for the purpose of attaining Krishna Prema, for becoming devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why we follow all of these austerities. All right. So with that, we'll end our today's session. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। So let's do a quick Harinam Sankirtan, 2-3 minutes. and then we'll see who are all there for today's session, and then we'll meet tomorrow. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्ता वृंदा हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya 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 Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Madhav Jai Shri Radha Shama Sundar Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Gurudeva Srila Gurudev Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol कलियुगपति तमाम हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय सामेत भक्तवृंद की जय all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai Hare Krishna. So we've gone 20 minutes over time. Let's see who are all there tolerant with me, being very tolerating. Shobha Mataji, Rohini Mataji, Nilanjani Mataji, Rishabhanu Kanya Mataji, Karpagavali Mataji, Anjana Mataji. Thank you all for your patience and tolerating me and my inadequacies and my lack of time sense. Please forgive me. We'll meet tomorrow. We'll try to meet exactly at 11:30. We'll start our session tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gurudev ki jai. Anant Koji Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai God Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much.
Pranam to all the devotees. Hare Krishna.